Hello and welcome back to Mirror Interpretation Todorova. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video will be about um, evaluation or quality control. Once again, this is video number 2 of my set. I'm going to talk about um, how much these quality controls are functional and how expensive they are and how company actually can't fully monitor you. The form that you saw previously was a DC or Virginia, Washington. Unfortunately, monitoring the interpreter is very expensive, so usually the company would have one person who would monitor most of the interpreters, and the monitoring will be in English only. Some companies do have periodically a second language monitor, a person who speak your target language who is going to monitor your full performance as an interpreter during a call. But usually the quality monitoring, it's not so functional nowadays. And there is many reasons why. So number one is because it's very expensive, and number two, it's very difficult to evaluate interpreter in one call instead of overall. So the most common things that the English evaluator would do, and this is what most of the companies would use, they will use one quality control that would be in English language only. The number one thing would be the Precession. A lot of companies will plug evaluator from the start of your call, and they want to check if you say the Precession. Most of the companies that are not so professional, or let's say they're a little bit old style, they are gonna give you a Precession that they want you to memorize, and it's not gonna be like, for example, I will give example with Siracom. Siracom will give you, hello, my name is this and my ID is this. I will be your that language interpreter. I will interpret everything you're saying. Keep it confidential. Please speak clearly. Use short phrases in order to assure accuracy. I may verify all the numbers. So this pre-session is pretty long. And if you have a 911 call, this pre-session is dysfunctional. It's not professional in the setting of the call to use that long of a pre-session. Usually for emergency police and so I would state my name and my ID. Go ahead, please. Because when your phone ring and it says it's 911, you understand that giving 40 seconds or 50 seconds of pre-session is not very professional, because they have to understand what is happening. Sometimes I had people that had a stroke on the street, and you have to teach the person, we teach the person how to do CPR during the 911 call. So imagine you with your long 1 minute pre-session causing somebody's death. So not intentionally, of course, but so why those companies that use English monitoring sometimes are not effective? I will use the word effective. The reason why is because not all of the calls are the same level. There are different levels of a calls. There is a school call where 1 minute pre-session would be wonderful. There is a doctor calls or anything that is easygoing, that would be just wonderful. But I will give you another scenario, legal call. So if you start with this long introduction, once again, this is not appropriate. Why? It's because you have the judge, you have Department of Homeland Security, you probably have a lawyer, and you have a government representative, and then you have the defendants. It's a lot of people on the call. And your role is to stay behind as much as possible. So If you start with this long precession, then what's happening is that the judge will start the record. And then for the record, they will ask you to raise your right hand and swear that you can interpret accurately from English to Russian, Russian to English. And this is where you have to state your name for the record, first name, and second to state your ID. So whatever you're gonna do before this record, it's not adequate to the call, it's not adequate to the session. So I noticed that company that use a pre-session monitoring in English only, and they break the standard to be exactly the same for each call, are dysfunctional. And the reason why is because some of the calls, and this happened quite a lot with Seracom, some of their clients, they would only add interpreter when they are fighting, when everybody is shouting at each other at the same time, and this is when they're gonna add you because they're unable to monitor their own sessions. Whoever is the customer care is upset, the other person that speaks some English is upset, and they would shout on each other, and this is when they're gonna plug you in. So imagine doing a pre-session when there is two people very angry at each other. Inappropriate again. Sadly, this pre-session monitoring, it's very, let's say, there is not a structure yet how adequate is to do a long pre-session. Yes, indeed, the pre-session must be done. And yes, indeed, use short phrases in order to assure accuracy. Yes, I will interpret everything you say and keep it confidential. But the matter of the fact is that sometimes you are in these calls where let's say there's a group of people and a doctor and family members and the patient that is sick, and then the group of doctor pressuring, this happens during calls, this person to do certain procedure or not, the family is against, he's against, but you have the nurses pressuring, then the doctor pressuring, and so on. Or same things happen with vaccines. I don't understand why, but here in USA, I noticed this tendency of doctors feeling entitled sometimes to pressure patients for certain things like vaccines. And I have interpret calls where they tell you, well, your child may die, you better do this vaccine or that vaccine. And the Russian ladies are really strong to hold their boundaries and say, no, I don't want to do this. I don't need it right now. Thank you for offering. And there would be another 15 or 20 times side nurse trying to pressure this, which obviously is not, it's not very healthy. It's not respectable. It's also against medical code and all these things. Legally, it's not okay. But the pre-sessions are not always perfect. There is not always space for you. There is not always this respectful space and time when they add you. A lot of the times of my first 5 years in interpreting here in USA for Kiracom, I had very traumatic calls, very humiliating me and putting me down and interrupting me and not allowing me. We don't need that. Go ahead. Hold on. I have to say something. Many disrespectful ways of treating you, and a lot of times not allowing you to state this precision. So that's why monitoring this, it's kind of dysfunctional, because you as a company, I believe, and all those companies, and if some company maybe watch this video, there must be a short precision. You have to provide short precision for the police, for 911, where you have to provide the minimum, because your role is to stay behind, not to spend 1 minute on precision. Yes, I do use the statement of the precision if there is people fighting and they are not letting me interpret. While the Russian member is speaking, the provider get impatient. No, 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 I want you to ask her, do this, do that. They don't let you read the message back and forth. And this is when I will reinforce the station. I will repeat the statements that I have to read everything it says. I have to interpret everything that it says. This is the interpreter speaking. Please hold on. Uh, but a lot of times people who use interpreters are not trained to respect you and allow you to do your statement. So I noticed with some of the companies, this case including Kiracom, they will plug into the call, let's say after 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or after a minute or so into your call, and they're gonna try to hear if you state the precession. Well, I noticed with Siracom that they will plug, let's say after 1 minute, and they will listen for your precession. Well, your precession was in the first 10 seconds or 15 or 30 seconds. So right now, asking for a precession in the middle of the call is inappropriate and inadequate, but their quality representative will file a complaint that you did not do a precession. That's why this is not effective. Number two thing that you're gonna be monitored for, let's say the quality monitoring will plug into the middle of the call, and usually that would give me a lot of attention. I would hear the third sound in the phone. I would hear the quality of the call will be lowered because you could hear somebody's listening. Some of those quality control are not very professional. There is a sound on their side that me interpreter can hear it, the provider can hear it, and the other side can hear it as well. But let's say if they plug into the middle of the session, they're going to monitor for intervene. This is the interpreter speaking. I like clarification. Interpreter speaking. Can you repeat this number after 324 or and so and so? How do you intervene? They're not so severe on that, but they do check that. The flow of the station, I feel it's one of the biggest things that they check, especially if they plug in the middle of the call. It's important to be able to manage the flow of the session, especially if the people on the both sides are upset. I always request people to be respectful. Please don't interrupt me. Please don't speak together with each other, and so and so. So the flow of the session is also a huge a boundary builder for me. And this next year of 2023, we are going to create, I am going to create with you videos about boundaries and how I set boundaries in the call, during upset people, during people that disrespect you, shout with you, interrupt you. There is some providers that think that they understand the target language and they presume they know what it was said, and they start speaking together with you, responding to what they think they understood. This is very challenging situation, different situations that you may encounter during the flow of the session. Sadly, all the trainings that you're gonna do, they will give you this fantasy idea of this perfect work environment, these perfect people who is gonna be respectful and listen each other and respect. No, this is not the truth. So there is this fake perfection representative of this profession because people want to put you down your payment. A lot of people fantasize that they are very important if they do these positions, if they do these jobs. They agree to do languages for $15, $17 an hour with this fantasy. Oh, you're gonna work from home. It's easy. Oh, you just do it like that. And no, I am so upset about the fakeness, the stance behind all the trainings that you may do here in USA, because the truth is that 99% of them do not prepare you to face these challenging calls. There is no, there is not whatsoever, not even one training that will train you how to set a boundary in the call. There is zero trainings about that. And I'm going to create those trainings together with you because I'm still building and learning how to set those boundaries. And I'm taking notes the last few months trying to discover which boundaries are working and which are not. So just stay tuned. This one is happening. This is gonna come. And if you're here in this YouTube channel, the reason that I create these videos that are not so much fun is because I want you to build yourself with me. And the boundaries is building yourself together with me, boundaries within the interpreting sessions. There is a second series of videos that I'm going to talk about communication with the companies you provide services for. And this is including the flow of the session, the flow of communication. Nobody teach you how to communicate yourself, your boundaries, and how to communicate and request respect within the interpreting session. So this is a huge, major lack of knowledge here, and I'm gonna try to put it on my channel for you for the coming of 2023, guys. And the last part that is monitored, and I noticed Sirocom does monitor that, is the post session. The pre-session, post-session, thank you for using our services. Have a great day. Thank you for using our services. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for using our services. I'm proud to serve you. All these fake things, especially, there were many calls that, oh, for example, thank you for your services. Is there anything else I can do for you? Let's say that you were in the call where you couldn't do anything for the lab. The provider wasn't able to perform any service, to give any information. It was dysfunctional call. Giving a statement in the end of like that is like a gaslighting. It's disrespectful for a lot of cultures. This is why American still, despite all this BS, forgive me, but this is BS, because in the end of the day, they talk about cultural competence, but all those statements are not adapted to be culturally respectful. For example, is there anything else I can do for you? If you didn't do anything for the entire call, asking a question like that in the end of the call is disrespectful, period. But this is like the fake American perfectionism and dysfunctionality of the post-session monitoring is happening because a lot of company, in this case I will mention Sirocom, they do plug in the end of the call when you already said it, the post-session, and they're wishing you a wonderful day. Oh, it was so pleasure to work with you. Thank you so much. And you say thank you, bye-bye. And they hear this 5 seconds of the call, and then they write in the report that you did not do post-session. Dysfunctional is dysfunctional because it's not full. I understand that quality monitoring is very expensive, and this is why it's dysfunctional too sometimes. It doesn't always work. So I remember that in the beginning, because the Seracom would do only negative feedbacks to me for the 5 years that I worked for them, and they will put me down and tell me that I'm so bad and so terrible. And this year, for my surprise, despite that they cut the contract for me, where while I requested to be respected, and I said, you have to train the people. I don't want to shout with them. This is very hard. This is very challenging. They disconnect the contract for me, and I was kind of broken inside. And looking back now, I think that was the best thing that happened to me. It was a gift, but I was very hurt back then because I really believed that I was so awful and so terrible as an interpreter. And guess what? 2 years later, they are pretending that my contract is active and trying to rehire me, playing tricks on me. That was my little satisfaction with them because I guess I discovered that they created training using real calls, and I'm pretty sure they heard a lot of my calls and they realized that I was actually doing a great job. So they sent me an offer 2 months ago and trying to down pay me. I said, no, thank you. Best of luck. Said that, guys, this is why English language quality control is sometimes dysfunctional, not all the times, but have in mind, pre-session, post-session, intervene, flow of the session, all of that is something that you may be monitored for. Thank you for being here and have a great day. And if you find this video useful, you can press like, share, subscribe. You can support me by free donation. Si hablas español y quieres imparare in profondità la terminologia médica en idioma español, puedes clicar sulla mia piattaforma Thinkific, donde puedes comprar il mio training cardiovascular system e a presto sto per creare sistema respiratorio in español e inglés. E al final de este video, también qué cosa non mi ricordo, se quieres comprare un training di Getting Ready for MBCMI, if you guys want to purchase Getting Ready MBCMI site translations, Russian English, you can click and subscribe for $19.99, and also you can subscribe for $7.99 and see videos for members only. Thank you and bye-bye.